So, in order for us to understand what was going on as in the days of Noah, we have to look at the days of Noah. So, look at Genesis 6, 1 through 4. It says, when man came to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. So we're going to break this down. You can see on the screen there, I've got some things highlighted. These are the things I want to talk about, I want to address, I want to expound our understanding and knowledge on, okay? So, can you go back to verse 1, please? Thank you. And so what we see right there, the first thing is the sons of God. We've got that highlighted right there. Sons of God is the Hebrew word Bene Elohim. Bene Elohim. It's actually like kind of two words together kind of a thing. You may have heard the word Elohim before in reference to God. This is the Hebrew translation of God when we see that in the Old Testament. That would be capital G God. It also can reference little g or lowercase God. It can also be plural, as in gods. So what we see right there is sons of God, Bene Elohim. Okay, Bene being the sons part of it. When we see this, this means the angels. This is what he's talking about. He's not talking about, as some will say, the lineage of Cain. This does not align with what the original language shows us. So it cannot be the lineage of Cain. This is the angels. That's what the sons of God are. That's what the Bene Elohim are. Verse 3, I think, is what it is. Yeah. So then the Lord said, my spirit shall not abide in man forever, for his flesh, his days shall be 120 years. There's a couple different opinions as to what this means, and I believe we could both debate that. I hold to the belief that this means this is the amount of time that was given to man to repent, and they did not do so before the flood. Okay, some think that means that that's what man's lifespan is, but that's not what I hold to believe, and I could scripturally support that, but it doesn't really matter, not to make any points we're trying to make today. All right, verse 4. It says the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterwards. So Nephilim is the Hebrew word. It means giants. Some translations just say giants. So what we're seeing right here is that giants were on the earth in those days and also afterward. So in the days of Noah there were giants, and also afterward. We know, biblically speaking, that there was some afterward. The most infamous giant we're familiar with would be Goliath. But if you really paid attention in your Old Testament, when you're reading, you would see that there was more than that reference, that the 12 spies returned to Moses and they gave a report that there were Nephilim in the land and that they appeared as grasshoppers to them. So there are several other mentions of the Nephilim or the giants. There's entire races of them. And if you really paid attention to the David and Goliath story, which you would have known or recognized, and you have to read kind of the whole book to get this, is that Goliath had 4 brothers, and they were slain also, and they were giants as well. And then there were kings that were giants also, like King Og. So there were giants in the days of Noah and also afterwards. And so then if we see there's your sons of God again, the Bene Elohim. What I want to make sure we understand is what these verses telling us is that they saw that the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. That's what the Nephilim were. Those were the offspring of the hybridization, or the mating, if you will, of the angels, the sons of God, with the daughters of man. And we see that these giants, these Nephilim, were of old. They were the men of renown. So let's ask ourselves some questions. Do we see, are there Nephilim with us today? Because we're presenting as in the days of Noah. This is what we're trying to illustrate, is If that's the case, are we there right now? I believe Jesus is telling us more in those verses in Matthew than, hey, people who are just going about their day-to-day business. So, are there Nephilim currently present with us today on earth? And I believe wholeheartedly that there are, and let me try to validate that and support that. So, do we have men of renown? We do have men of renown. These men of renown would be people that are on, like, the World Economic Forum. So if you're not familiar with the World Economic Forum, get educated and study that stuff out. These are the people behind the veil that are controlling governments and using presidents and such as puppets and to roll out whatever their agenda is, which is the beast system. And so these men of renown would be people like the Bezos and the George Soros and the Bill Gates and the Zuckerbergs, and don't forget Elon Musk, okay? And there's more. So these are our men of renown today. Are they giants? They don't necessarily look like it as far as stature is concerned, but they're certainly men of renown. Are there giants on earth today? I mean, you ever seen an NBA team? I mean, I'm not necessarily saying I believe that they're the offspring of angels and women, but maybe there's some DNA in there or something. I don't know. I can't say, all right? But what I do know is that when we look at, for example, the royal bloodline, okay, so the royals, if you don't know this, the royals, like England, for example, they actually stake claim to about 40% of the world's land, of the world. They had their flag planted in one way, shape, or form in about 40% of the land around the world. If you didn't know this, the royals are really kind of the top of the tier when it comes to a lot of these secret societies. So the bottom foot soldiers would be your Freemasons. They are the foot soldiers. A lot of them don't even realize what it is that they're a part of, but their stuff is rooted in Gnosticism. And so Jesus told us not to take any oaths, to let our yes be yes and our no be no, and anything other than that is from the evil one. And so this is really what's taking place when they take these oaths and so on. But the Freemasons are really just the bottom tier of a whole long line of other secret societies, whether it's the Rosicrucians, the Jesuits, the Illuminati, and these are all under the royal bloodline, believe it or not, and they're all rooted in the Gnosticism. So just some of the things that the Freemasons teach would illustrate, like if you didn't know your word real good, you would think they're talking to you about things of God, and really they're just deceiving you, and you're taking these oaths, believing that this is a godly thing when it's not. You're just being a foot soldier for a larger cause. So when we look at royal just means bloodline. So we understand that the royals, they are very hyper-focused in keeping track of their lineage and keeping their bloodline pure. So royals marry other royals, right? It's very ironic because not only are the royals super hyper-focused on their lineage and keeping record of it, but so are the Jewish people, God's people, right? They want to validate that, hey, I'm pure. They want to validate that when they come together in marriage, that's what they do. Like they're showing their lineage, and the other side is showing their lineage. They're showing their purity is what they're doing. So we've got the same thing happening on the other side here with the royals. When we recognize that royals really just means bloodline, what we're also need to understand is that they believe, this is the secret. I know what the top secret thing is in Freemasonry. The secret is they believe themselves to be heirs of these angels, which would be Nephilim, would it not be? King James' very own self, the one that helped author the Bible, and his translation was also under the belief that he was descended from the gods. So he believed this wholeheartedly. And this also had something to do with the way that he did the translation. There's some wordings and things that he has altered because of that. He also did some things different to try to appease the Catholic Church. I don't want to discount the King James Bible. It is a fairly accurate translation, so don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying that that because of the motives behind King James, some things have been altered just a little bit. So anyways, the Royals, this is what they believe, that they descended from the gods. This is why they keep track of their lineage, why they keep it pure, and this is why they have a hierarchy system underneath of them that's rooted in Gnosticism and a whole lot of secret societies and oaths and stuff like that. So they go to great efforts, and these organizations that we're seeing, like the World Economic Forum and things like that, the WHO, the World Health Organization, and NATO even, these are all just organizations that are out there to continue to push this agenda. Okay, so are there Nephilim out there today? It looks like it to me. I want you to understand about the Royals too. This is something that happens when you translate a number of languages. So when we talked about Elohim, you see the sons of God, Bene Elohim, sons of God. So the singular form of God or Elohim is El, E-L. And many of you may be aware of that or know that. And so, for example, when you see names like Daniel or Ezekiel or Michael or Gabriel, it's all got E-L at the end of it. Their name means something of God. All right? So El is the singular form of God. So what's happened when we take that word El and we translate it, which is a Hebrew word, and we translate it to Greek and then to Latin and then to English, it aligns with what is in the Royals. Are you tracking with me? Their AL at the end is the equivalent of that else. This is the wording evidence of that. It's right there in front of our face. That's the thing, is that words and symbols mean things, but we don't know, and we just take it for granted because time has gone by and desensitization and things like that. So it's even in the name Royals indicating and validating, driving that point even further home, that they are of these sons of God. They are modern day Nephilim, and they are men of renown. And so I wouldn't be surprised if a number of those people I mentioned aren't direct as well. And I mean, you could really spin off into Elon Musk thing and stuff like that, and maybe another time.